May 1945. The war is over. Germany has surrendered. The Nuremberg trials are being organized. The Allies promised that every single Nazi war criminal would face justice. Every single one. Except one man did the math. He stared at the wanted lists with his name at the very top. He saw the death sentence Belgium had already issued for him. He saw the gallows being prepared at Nuremberg, and he decided that none of it applied to him. He stole a plane. He flew across Europe. He crash-landed on a beach in Spain, his aircraft engulfed in flames, and then he did the impossible. He lived for 49 more years in a villa by the sea, in the sunshine, unpunished. His name was Leon Degrelle. The last hours of his war began at an airfield in Norway. The Reich had ceased to exist. SS officers around him were burning uniforms, burying insignia, trying to pass as ordinary German soldiers following orders. Degrelle was not interested in blending in. He knew exactly what awaited him if he surrendered. Belgium had already sentenced him to death in absentia. His face was on every Allied wanted list. There was no path that ended with him walking free. So he found a Junkers 1111 bomber. He loaded it with every drop of fuel it could carry. He climbed into the cockpit with a small group of companions and pointed the aircraft south. The flight was terrifying. The weather over the North Sea was brutal. The plane was overloaded, struggling to stay aloft. Somewhere over the Bay of Biscay, the engine began to falter. Below him stretched the cold Atlantic. If he went down there, he would drown. Nobody would find him. Nobody even knew where he was. He pushed south with relentless determination. The Spanish coast appeared. San Sebastian, a beach. He brought the plane down with no runway, no clearance, nothing. Just sand, speed, and a desperate controlled crash. The fuselage broke apart. Both engines erupted in flames. Degrelle was thrown forward, breaking bones, burning his hands, tearing something in his chest. But he climbed out. He was alive. In Spain. Free from justice, at least for now. Degrelle had not crashed in Spain by accident. He chose it deliberately, because he understood what the Allied powers were only beginning to realize in May 1945. The Cold War was coming. Franco's Spain was officially neutral, but Franco had sent 50,000 Spanish volunteers to fight alongside the Germans on the Eastern Front. His regime was ideologically aligned with everything Degrelle had fought for. More importantly, Franco was about to become useful to the Western powers as a bulwark against Soviet expansion in southern Europe. Pressing Spain too hard over one Belgian war criminal would soon be diplomatically inconvenient. Degrelle had calculated all of this. He was not just a soldier, he was a politician. He understood power, and he acted accordingly. The moment Spanish emergency services pulled him from the burning wreckage, he requested political asylum. Franco said yes. Belgium screamed for extradition. Spain said no. The Allies applied pressure. Spain said no again. Within 2 years, the Cold War had made Franco too important to antagonize over one escaped Belgian fascist. Degrelle had read the situation perfectly. Most war criminals who escaped justice after 1945 spent the rest of their lives in hiding. False names, remote locations, constant fear of discovery. Men like Isef Mangale ran from country to country for decades, terrified, isolated, never able to stop moving. Degrelle did none of that. He lived in Spain under his own name, Leon Degrelle. The very name on the Belgian death warrant. The one in every Allied intelligence file. He gave interviews to journalists, wrote books, corresponded openly with neo-Nazi organizations across Europe and America. He attended events, appeared on television. He spoke freely about Hitler, calling him the greatest man of the 20th century, denying the Holocaust, claiming that if the Reich had won, the world would have been better. and nothing happened. Belgium demanded extradition. Spain refused again and again for decades. The Belgian death sentence eventually expired. The political will to pursue him evaporated. The world moved on, and Degrelle stayed in his villa, watching it all from the Spanish sunshine. In 1945, right after the war, the Allied powers had a choice. They could have threatened Franco with real consequences for sheltering Degrelle, economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, even military pressure. They chose not to. By 1946, they needed Franco more than they needed Degrelle. Spain controlled access to Gibraltar, sat at the entrance to the Mediterranean, was a Catholic country with a strong anti-communist military regime on France's border. The Americans needed Spain in the coming Cold War. Pressing too hard over one Belgian fascist was not worth the cost of that relationship. Degrelle understood what this meant better than anyone. As long as he stayed in Spain and Franco remained in power, nothing could touch him. He was right. Franco died in 1975. Democratic Spain inherited the problem of Degrelle and did nothing. By then, he was nearly 70 years old. Witnesses to his crimes were dying. The political urgency had faded. The world had other concerns. He remained in his villa. In 1985, a Belgian journalist traveled to Marba to interview Degrelle. He found an elderly man in a well-appointed villa. Sharp mind, clear memory, no regrets. He spoke for hours. He called the Eastern Front the great adventure of his life. He spoke of Hitler with something that sounded like love. He denied the Holocaust with complete confidence. He claimed the death toll figures were fabrications. He called the camps labor camps, not death camps. He said it all on camera, without fear, because there was nothing to fear. The journalist asked if he regretted anything. Degrelle paused. He said no. If he could do it all again, he would. Every single thing, exactly the same way. Then he smiled. That smile, perhaps the most disturbing image of all. Not the Eastern Front, not the escape, not the 50 years of impunity. That smile, the smile of a man who knew he had won. Leon Degrelle died on March 31st, 1994, aged 87. Natural causes, hospital in Malaga, no handcuffs, no courtroom, no justice. Simon Wiesenthal, who spent his life hunting Nazi war criminals, called Degrelle one of the great unpunished. The Belgian government issued a statement expressing regret. That was it. From 1945 to 1994, 49 years. The combined governments of Belgium, France, Britain, the United States, and democratic Spain could not or would not bring one man to justice for crimes he committed openly, extensively documented, never denied. He did not hide, he did not run, he did not pretend to be someone else. He stayed in Spain and dared the world to come get him. And the world blinked every time. The Nuremberg trials were meant to prove that crimes against humanity cannot escape justice. Leon Degrelle spent 49 years proving that principle wrong. He died in his bed, by the sea, in the sun. And that is the part that should make every one of us deeply uncomfortable. The system meant to guarantee justice after the worst war in human history had a gap, and one man found it and walked right through.